Hey, get at us on Twitter at Zoe Williams. I need your questions. I need your input. I'll be reading it throughout the show. You know the topic is going to be crazy. Woo! Hey, but before we get to the topic, we got to do community empowerment. We have a special community empowerment today. You know, I like to highlight things that impact our community in a positive way. And we have something very, very special in studio. It's not a phone call. It's live in studio. One of our legendary actors is in the building. I'm just so excited. Thank you, Bobby Glanton, for making it happen. Very important play that everybody in the LA area should participate in. No question. This is a call to action segment. Without further ado, let me introduce legendary actor, esteemed brother, an honorary uncle. Lou Beatty Jr. is in the building.
Hey.
Welcome to the Zoe Up Morning Show.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Thank you so much.
Come on, man. Introduce your friend. Tell us who she is.
I'm here with Zadia Ife, one of the most wonderful directors in LA. She is up and coming. Her time is now, and she's directing Nobody Walks Like My Daddy, which is about a father or a young man who is now an old man remembering the stuff his father told him that he should have listened to. And now at this date in his life, he's realized his daddy was steering in the right way. I mean, it's just a wonderful play about a man's love for his daddy. People can get tickets at barbaramorrison.com because it's at Barbara Morrison's Performing Arts Center in Leimert Park, or they can call 310-462-1439. People are loving it. We had a packed house on Friday night. We got plenty of seats available for Saturday and Sunday, Valentine's Day special, only $20.
Let's do it.
It's a wonderful date. Call 310-462-1439. Take your date for Valentine's, and or go to barbaramorrison.com.
Man, Lou Beatty's a pro. Zadia,
yes.
Tell me about the importance of fatherhood in our community and how this play plays into that importance, because a lot of people, you know, we daddies get marginalized a lot.
Absolutely, and that's what the play celebrates. The play celebrates the value of a father's presence in the home. And it's something that we've gotten away from, and it really is the foundation of our family structure. Do you know what I'm saying? Going all the way back to Africa during the period of enslavement, coming forward. We think that we've lost it, but it is still there, and we have to look at it and we have to embrace it. And so that's what the play looks at. A father who was in his home trying to take care of his children, the lessons, as Lou said, that he learned from his father, that his father got from his father, and how they pass this legacy along. And that's what we need to leave our children. There's a portion in the play where Lou's character as a father says we need to give them pictures to look at, show them their ancestors, let them know where they come from, so that they can get an understanding of where they're at in this present and where they need to go in the future.
There's even a part in this play about a woman who actually loses it in the marriage, and she walks out because it's so terrible, it's so hurting. And I think that's your subject today, about how women are just having a real problem out here sometimes. So it catches everyone, and at the end of the show, people are giving us standing ovations.
Wow.
One lady said she couldn't stop laughing. Another lady said she couldn't stop crying.
Wow.
I mean, it's just it's a roller coaster of emotions.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And one more time, because this is a call to action. Everybody out here who listens to this show, you know how I get down. I promote everything, and I expect you to participate from the rooter to the tutor.
Absolutely.
Where can they get these tickets, and when is the next showing?
Go to barbaramorrison.com and get your tickets, or call 310-462-1439. That's 310-462-1439. It's a wonderful Valentine's Day weekend. Saturday at 3 o'clock, Sunday at 3 o'clock. We're sold out on Friday.
I see you.
$20 and bring you there and have a wonderful Valentine's Day. It's a show you will never forget.
Awesome, awesome stuff. You heard it here. You got to go support this. Nobody walks like my daddy now.
And I'm the daddy.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm a walking food.
Great stuff. Listen, we've got another vendor I call her a vendor, but she's not a vendor. She's my friend. Veronica Conway is on the phone right now. Veronica, what business do you have that this audience who loves you to death needs to participate in right now? Talk to me.
Well, again, so we've been talking about these boot camps because it is about Black people, really, our brothers and sisters getting financial sovereignty through business. And so we have, in my last boot camp, I just got a call last week, there was a sister who did not have a business. She'd been writing down notes in a binder for 5 years about what her business ideas were, but she got here in our boot camp, she got committed, and last week she closed $8,300 in one day. So we took her basically from having no business to having an $8,300 day. So think about, sisters and brothers, if you could go from your business idea and your concept to like a sustainable business model and start closing, having 4-figure days, that would change the game in our community. So
right.
If you have a business or if you've got a viable business concept, reach out to me at veronicaconway.com. That's Veronica at veronicaconway.com, and just put Business Bootcamp in the subject line. We'll have a conversation and see if this makes sense for you.
Wow. And listen, Veronica is one of the foremost transformational business coaches in the game. She taught Iyanla Van Zant neuro-linguistic programming. She's probably one of the coldest in the game in our community for sure. That's why I bring her on the show. If you want to change your life, change the way you think, change your results, she's one of those kind of people that can really be that little pivot person in your life that just takes you to the next level. Veronica Conway, and you can get her at Veronica Conway at veronicaconway.com. It's a cold situation. Y'all support her. Now, Bobby Glanton-Smith, author of Real Men Don't Play. Bobby's a cold dude. He's a serious dude, and he does not play. Please support Bobby's work at BobbyGlantonSmith.com. Real Men Don't Play. Support his work. Support his books. Also, what do we have? I'm urging all of my fans, all of the listeners of the show, go to your iPhone's app department and get or download the Dash Radio app. My new radio show, The Voice of Reason, is returning to Dash Radio. It's going to be crazy. It's 1 million people listening. It's all over the place. You get it on your phone, your laptops, your cell, all of that. Dash Radio is returning The Voice of Reason. It's crazy. Download it on your app right now, because within the next couple of weeks, The Voice of Reason will return. The ultimate relationship help desk show. Crazy stuff. Also, go to cdbaby.com and support the God Class Volume 1. It is a lecture on God. All religion, spirituality is a very heavy CD. I put it together a few years ago. You should get it now. cdbaby.com, support that. Also, Elephant NYC, high-end clothing. African American created this stuff. It's a brother out of New York. It's all tailored design stuff. If you like Ralph Lauren or Polo, get some brother stuff on your back. The brothers made it. So support the brothers out of New York. The finest quality, finest material. Elephant, man. Very, very high-end, beautiful stuff. You should support it. Also, go to IamZoeWilliams.com. Look at my website. Check out this website. It was created and produced by some brothers out of Atlanta who own a digital company that is focused on web design. They're called Easy Boy Web. They design my website. If you have any web needs or social media needs, these are the guys that will take your stuff from looking really unprofessional and broke to high-end slick. Even if you don't have any money, you'll look like you do dealing with the brothers down here at Easy Boy Web. Please support them. Also, the Black Office Depot, the Black Staples, the Black Office Max, Arise Hospitality, black owned. They get all the same stuff from Staples, but only they black. So you don't lose them the quality of anything. If you need staples and journals and pens and stickums, they got the furniture, they got everything, and they black owned. Arise Hospitality. We got to do it for our folk for once, please. Now that the community empowerment, Weed Juice. Brother black owned, high-end trainer, creates his own juice line. We'll take care of all So What listeners. 20% discount for those who do business with the brother. He will give you a 20% discount. All you got to do is tell him, Zoe Williams sent me up through here, and that's what it is, Zoe Up Morning Show. This is what we're doing. Now, the topic and the guest, it's about to be crazy, and it's about to be pandemonium, because the topic we're dealing with today is so needed, so poignant, and really not often spoken on, not often talked about. We're really going to get into it today, man. It's a heavy, heavy topic. Don't be scared. Don't punk out. Participate. We'll be back at 2.2, and when we come back, topics and guests. So what morning? I'll see you in a second.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poor care of yourself. That if you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. Cool. Okay, so I have a challenge to the people that are going to be guesting on the show. Try to heal this unhealed wound. Imagine you're a few weeks old, and you're just able to look out of your eyes, and you're looking up at your mom, and imagine the difference that you're looking up to a mom, and you're totally helpless. You don't even have body support. Your head's flopping all over the place, and you're looking up at your mom, and imagine the difference that what she's feeding you is she loves you. You're a gift of God. She's looking in your eyes, and the first thing you see is someone like Geoff, and no wonder you're all messed up. But especially if your mom looks like Geoff. But imagine if instead. Go ahead. But no, imagine instead you're looking up there, and this is where you get a taste of whether the world is safe or dangerous. And what you see is a mother who got pregnant with you because she wanted love from the world, because she wanted more than her share from the world. And then when you're born, you become a burden. You're not giving her love, you're taking love, and she's ticked off at you. And when you look in her eyes, there's this look like, just feed, just finish, just go to bed already so I can sleep. And you're thinking, just put the nipple in my mouth instead of my eye, and I'll get to bed, and this will be okay. So imagine you're bathed in that at the beginning, and you don't even remember it. There's a psychologist named Erik Erikson who talked about all these different levels of our personality, and the basic level of our personality is something called basic trust or basic mistrust. And if you go into the world with basic mistrust, you're always looking for someone to hurt you. It's a totally different life. So imagine that's what you're born into. You look up, you open your eyes, and you can't trust the person who's taking care of you. How are you going to heal that one?
Wow. Well, that's the alley-oop for the day's topic. I want to hear what people have to say about this. So call us at 855-878-4652. Once again, the number to dial to participate in today's show is 855-878-4652. Get at us on Twitter as well. I'm at Zoe Williams, at Z-O Williams on Twitter. I'd love to know what you guys think about today's topic. Today's topic: the Unhealed Nurturer, a penetrating look into the wounded/unhealed mother. I like to call it the Tao of the generational curse, the way of passing on generational curses. It's going to be tough. When it comes to relationship trauma, are the hurts that come from our mothers beyond reproach? I've seen, man, I told you guys about a friend of mine, his daughters now, being abused in a certain kind of way. One is emotionally abused. The other one was physically abused. But those daughters love their mother, regardless of that abuse. So, is a mother's abuse beyond reproach? Because that's mama. Our idea of mama. I got questions. Are you and your emotionally abusive mother currently estranged? And if you are, how has that separation affected your relationships, your intimate relationships? Unfinished work with mom, how does that transfer over into your intimacy building relationships with people you want to be with? Crazy stuff. How do abusive and emotionally manipulative mothers parent their children? What is the method of using manipulation to parent children? And how does that affect the children? What are the pros and cons of that type of parenting? Somebody speak on it. 855-878-4652. Do you know someone, or do you know of some mothers that perpetuate the "your father ain't shit" mantra, right, to their children, just because the relationship didn't work? And what does that do to the kids?
You know them niggas on your daddy's side ain't shit, don't you?
Has your mother always been willful and selfish in all of her doings? Has your mother always put herself and her needs above yours and your siblings?
Fuck that play. I'm going to Vegas this weekend.
Is your mother narcissistic? Come on now. We got to do this. 855-878-4652. I'm asking these questions because a lot of people that I know personally have said, man, you got to do this show. It was Veronica. I mean, I got these shows already listed out. Veronica was like, hey, I got a friend who's going through this. And I said, well, you know, I was going to do a different show. I'm going to do that show. And we started to pull this thing together, man. Is your mother insanely defensive and extremely sensitive to any type of criticism coming from you? 855-878-4652. Is there mothers out there that are really like that? According to my friends, yes. 855-878-4652. You gotta participate. Does your mother have a tendency to demean, criticize, and denigrate all that you hold meaningful in life?
Damn. Holy
You're not that good. You're not gonna make it. If I didn't make it, what makes you think you're gonna make it? There's mamas out there like that. 855-878-4652. Listen, we've got guests in the house. Come on in here. Come on in. Corey Holcomb has just joined the fray. We got Corey Holcomb in the building. We've got, of course, Bobby Glanton. We've got Margo Hudson. We've got Geoff Brown. We've got Dr. Mark Goulston. And on Skype, we had to bring the legendary G back in the building. Spiritual brother Nityama is on the show with us. What up, brother Nityama?
What up? There you go.
Yeah.
What's up, Black?
That's that dude right there.
Yeah, that's that brother right there.
Where's your hat?
Can't hear him.
So, let's get into this. We've been asking these questions. How can an adult child effectively deal with an emotionally bullying mom? A lot of times mom hurts us in ways that nobody can hurt us. The bond between mom and child, we just live with it and love her regardless. How do we deal with that, Geoff?
I don't believe young children are equipped to deal with it. I think that there's the creator, the universe, God, whatever you would call the higher being, always puts a light there, no matter how big or small. Somebody's there. There's a cousin, an auntie, hell, a radio program, a TV program. Something is the light. The thing is, can that child focus on that light? Because it's there. It might be this big, it might be this big, but there's always something in a life when you got a horrible ass mama. I know a lot of people who have horrible mothers, and it's somebody. Just can you gravitate to that light?
I'm still trying to absorb the subject matter, man, because, man.
It's heavy.
We are living in a time where we was listening to some music coming back from the taping of the Corey Holcomb show last night that put that in perspective.
It's great music. Yeah.
Because women found themselves in a position where the government allowed policies to come into place where men were forced out of the home, and it put the whole community at peril. And I'm trying to figure out how do we weigh this out in terms of how much of it women are just directly responsible for because that's just who they are, or is it a tsunami effect where one thing led to another, you know?
Well, because of everything that we're taking in, right? Socially, right? All of these different programs, all of the song, Corey Holcomb played the Claudine soundtrack on the way home from the recording of the 5150 show, and there was a show. It was a song called Wealth. It was about welfare,
right?
And they was basically saying, "Keep away from him." She was singing, "Keep away from my man, Mr. Welfare."
No, what she was saying was keep away from the welfare system because how they used to do, like before child support, where they made the man the enemy. They used to make the woman the enemy. Like they used to tell her she lazy, don't know how to take care of her children,
right.
And then she got this bad influence around. But they used to put it on her, like the man was the bad influence. Now with child support, the man is the bad guy.
Wow.
So they've always tried to split the black family up. It's just they got a new way of doing it now. Child support versus welfare. It's like welfare on steroids.
Wow, Nityama.
Yes.
Please chime in on these unhealed wounds that, infect our women's heart, which actually infect the heart of the family. Can you speak on that?
Well, there's so many factors. It's like the brothers are saying. There are a lot of factors that come into play. So, one thing that has to be understood is that whatever we give to our women gets passed down. And much of what is given to them, we as men have nothing to do with that input. So I'm with a woman, but she's listening to everybody but me.
Whoa.
So
Wow.
even whatever I have to say, even about how I want my children to be interacted with, she's got some kind of a disagreement or some kind of complaint because she's heard all this other stuff from first one idiot and then another idiot and then another idiot. So now I've got to battle all of that just to have a conversation with her. Because one of the things you have to understand about a woman, the moment that she takes something into her subconscious, she determines that that's truth.
That's heavy. Say that one more time.
The moment that a woman accepts something into her subconscious, she actually, at that point, believes that it's truth, whether it's insane or whether it's real. She just automatically accepts. See, the subconscious has no discriminating ability.
Wow. Listen.
It accepts whatever you give.
Flag on the play. We got to take a time out.
We got to take a time out.
That was heavy. When we come back, we're going to bring in the feminine element to help us decipher some of the heaviness, the magnitude of what was just said by Brother Nityama. We'll be back at 2.2, the Unhealed Nurturer.
Unball your fist, Margo.
Man, it's about to go down. We'll be back at 2.2.
Your opinion, your standards don't count. They know best. You're not important. You're still a bad child. You're still a selfish, ungrateful child. And you're crazy because you don't accept their view of reality or their view of your motives. Now, maybe the worst situation is when they're nice to your kids, but they're still mean and toxic to you. You still need to set a good example for your kids. No bullying allowed in your personal space. You've tried to tell those toxic parents how you feel, how hurt you are. You've tried to reason with them and to prove to them that you love them. You've tried hard to be a good child, but you've never succeeded. You never will. They will never accept approval. You owe those toxic parents nothing. You owe those toxic parents nothing.
What happens when you lie to me? You get hot sauce. What else happens when you lie to me? You don't know what you did. No, don't spit it. Are lies supposed to come out of your mouth? No. Does it make it better to lie? Was it a good choice to lie to me about pulling 3 cards for pulling a card? A cold shower. Get undressed right now. Christoph, why are you getting a cold shower?
Because I pulled 3 cards.
You pulled 3 cards today. That is unacceptable behavior.
And the age makes a big difference. So let me throw out some scenarios, and you can tell me if it is abuse or not.
Okay.
A parent tells a 7-year-old that wearing their hair a certain way makes them look stupid. Is that abuse?
Well, it's also how you say it in the context you say it. Yeah, you can laugh. I have a little boy that made his hair look really funny, and I said, that is the craziest thing I've seen, and it was funny. But if I say words to him like, that is stupid, nobody's going to like you, and you look ridiculous, and I start saying these things with a harsh tone that's imprinting on them that there's something wrong with me. You see, emotional abuse creates these scars that makes me feel like I'm defective. It causes shame and guilt and goes, well, something must be wrong with me.
What about telling, let's say, a 3-year-old, because I know it has a huge impact on really young children, that they're bad. And we all lose our frustration when kids are misbehaving. But that if they continue to act like that when they grow up, they could be a bad person.
Yes.
Is that abuse?
It can be. And again, I'm looking for a pattern over time. It's the mom in the grocery store and the boys throwing cans off the shelf.
You see where we are right now?
Yeah.
Again, I'm doing a show to bring light to some of the stereotypes that we have in place. The stereotype of mom is beyond reproach. Just like the stereotype of Jesus, right? Don't say nothing about Jesus. Obama came out and said something about Jesus, and all the people who supported him attacked him for saying something about Jesus.
Shit their pants.
You see what I mean? So, God, love, all of these words have been bastardized to such a degree that you don't get a clear view of reality around it. Now, we just played a video of a woman pouring hot sauce in a kid's mouth
and throwing him in the cold
and throwing him in the shower because he pulled 3 cards at school. So the whole purpose of this show, Bobby, because Bobby said he was still trying to wrap his head around it, we're trying to say just because a person is a mother doesn't necessarily mean that they're a nurturer.
Absolutely.
And now we want to look into the development of those children who come out from that care, or if you want to call it lack of care, right? Just because she's mama doesn't mean she's good at being a mom. Doesn't mean she's good at nurturing. Doesn't mean she's good at raising you up to your highest spiritual potential. And that's what mother's supposed to do, in my opinion. Mamas is always supposed to have, Jeffrey Dahmer's mama had his back.
Right.
Right? He didn't eat no black people butt.
You see how straight my baby cut them people up?
So that's the whole purpose. We have to delve into understanding the mind of an abusive mother. And as is commonplace, whenever we talk about American society and phenomena in America, we always got to look at it through the lens of African American mothers. Why? Because we black.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. We black, so
because we're unafraid to look.
Right. Corey, he had a point.
Well, I'm saying, like, from what I understand, back in the day, a lot of I'm just gonna be blunt. Caucasian women didn't know how to raise their children, so they let the African American women raise them.
Wow.
So now what happens is that they have made a mockery out of humanity. They brag on what the African American woman has become because they show her in the club, doing things that, you're like, really? You like 30-something and you still conducting yourself like you 19, you know what I'm saying? They brag on the fact that they fucked up the head of all these women.
Wow. Well, we have women in the building right now. Margo Hudson has joined us, as well as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, author of Mental Detox, in the building right now. You've been listening and been very patient.
I have.
Talk to us.
Thank you. This is a deep topic. Our childhoods is not a secret. They affect our entire lives. A lot of times women who are wounded go through their entire lives wounded, and the healing just, there's no time for it. It's just like if you were in a war and you're out in Vietnam and you got shot and when your belly is ripped open and your stuff is pouring out, you don't have time to go to get that fixed. There's stuff going on. That's the way life is, and a lot of women have all this stuff on their back. They don't have time to go get the healing that they need, or even have the time to even have the awareness of it. But I think it's very interesting what the brother said earlier.
Nityama.
Mm-hmm. He was saying that things about the subconscious mind, and I've been studying about the subconscious mind myself for a few years, and I also get involved in, myself, I do a lot of, well, I'm back on it again, but hypnosis, self-hypnosis. And so what I've learned about that, and I'm not sure exactly how men and women, how it differs as far as the subconscious, but I do know that the subconscious mind is recording everything, and that's the program that we're playing and that's running in our daily lives, that even whether you know it or not. So I can't say that just, he said it's just women, and it's everybody. I don't agree with what he said. It's everybody. It's not just women's minds where the subconscious is taking part. And also, one more thing I have to say, a lot of times men are complaining about the mental state of women, and they're in relationships with these women. And the thing that they don't realize is a lot of the pain that women suffer, even from a little child, from a little girl, is at the hands of men. The very men that complain about us in these relationships, that we're not mentally or emotionally equipped to be stable or emotionally stable to be in these relationships. And that's not the whole thing, because there's some fathers that play part too, but women are definitely messed up by men a lot of times throughout their entire lives.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and then Geoff Brown, and of course Veronica Conway's on the line as well. We're gonna dive deep into this. Your thoughts?
Well, I believe that obviously a mother is a primary role model and role in both a woman and a male's life. I believe that if a woman or a young girl is broken at age 1 through 5 as a child, she becomes a broken adolescent and then becomes a broken woman. And I think that oftentimes men that the woman ends up dating, not oftentimes, I want to say more of the time, they end up being the ones that have to either attempt to hold her hand, attempt to help her get through that, attempt to deal with those issues, and a lot of times
coping.
Yeah, and a lot of times we end up using the men that we date as a container for our anger, for our resent from our parents, for our brokenness that we have experienced as a child from mom or dad. While
at the same time still loving moms. The reason why we say mom,
but that's where the internal conflict comes in.
It's easy to put dad out to pasture. It's harder to put mama out to pasture. Tell me I'm lying. It's easy to say, well, mama told me dad wasn't shit anyway.
There you go.
So it's easy. Dads are marginalized in society anyway. Mothers are not. Mother is like God.
Period.
It's hard to marginalize God.
Well, mother is the first teacher. Even though she's broken, she's still the first teacher. I like to call this the, what does that happen?
Then that would mean the first good or bad teacher. Let's not just say the first teacher.
Yeah, she sets the tone. She definitely sets the tone. She sets the tone.
And that's unfortunate in a lot of cases.
In a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
Geoff, you had a question.
That's what I was, the only thing I took issue with that you said, which the doctor kind of covered, is let's not muddy the water with blank does it too, or blank has it this way as well. When we talk about how dudes ain't shit, we talk about dudes that ain't shit. That ain't the alpha males that I run with. But I know dudes that are just plain old fucking horrible. And when we talk about them, we never go, but women ain't shit and it's mama's fault. No, dude, you need to own up. And that's two words that seem to escape the conversation whenever it points to feminine energy in any way, is own up. Not your daddy, not you, nigga, you.
Wait, hold on. Because we got to take a quick break. When we come back, I wanna go to Nityama. But my question is, which road do you take? Do you take the estrangement road? After you get to a certain age, you say, I can't deal with moms no more.
Yeah.
Or do you take the how do we heal road? And I think Nityama has some keen insights on the healing road and even the estrangement road. When we come back, the unhealed nurturer. Crazy topic already.
Many adult children of narcissistic parents have told me they feel like the black sheep of the family. And if they start discussions about resolution or healing, they're often rejected, punished, pushed out, seen as wrong. Like, what are you doing and who do you think you are? But what about those of us who can see the elephant, who do want resolution and healing? Do we have to accept the definition that we're the crazy ones? I don't think so. So let's change it up a little bit. Imagine with me now a large grassy meadow, and at the very far edge of the meadow are some tall, tall trees. At the top of those trees, you can see visions, opportunities, healing, growth, learning, problem solving. But back in the meadow, there's a large flock of sheep. The sheep all look alike, have their heads down, they do what the next guy does. They can't see the tops of those treetops. Then in the midst of this massive flock of sheep are a few giraffes. And the giraffes have long legs, long necks, and don't fit in. But they can see the treetops. They see things the sheep don't see. So if they call those things out, the sheep tell them to stop it already. Be like us, join the sheep flock. Be quiet about those treetops. It upsets the flock that you might be a giraffe. You know, this same analogy is often felt with those of you who are visionaries or entrepreneurs. You see visions and opportunities, right? And then you have to deal with the naysayer flock of sheep. The sheep who say, you can't do that. That won't work. And here are all the reasons you shouldn't go forward.
Time, parents who were fucked up. I mean, there's been parents who've been fucked up throughout time. But you know what those parents wanted? Better for their kids. So they may not have been shit, and they say, you know what? I'm not shit, but I want my baby to be something. My baby gonna be something. My baby gonna be something. So that's why when people talk about black women, and they say shit like, you know, well, hell, these black women didn't do shit for that basketball player. A lot of times they did. You know what they did? They believed that that baby could be better than them. Now, they may have been fucked up. They may have been losers. So when you look at the, I don't know, you look at the LeBron Jameses, and you look at the Allen Iversons, and you look at the, I don't know.
Man, this is tough. And you guys, the during the breaks is even,
we're going
oh my
at
God, it's even crazier during the breaks. But think about what I'm saying. LeBron James, the dude just mentioned LeBron James. LeBron James came out and was lauded for saying, I didn't need a daddy. Remember when he came out and he talked about his real dad? He was like, I'm glad I didn't have a daddy. See, dads get marginalized all the time. But when we do this conversation about mothers, right?
His mother fucked his teammate.
Yeah, but that's still mom. But that's still mom. That's still mom. So my point here is how then, when I went to break, I talked about the two roads. Either helping your mother heal. Is it possible to help your mother heal?
Or give her the Heisman.
Or is estrangement the better way to deal with your mother? Because I see estrangement as sweeping it under the rug and it's just over there, it's a lump under the rug, but at some point you got to deal with that. I don't think that's something you just, you know, estrangement indefinitely. And then a lot of times, a lot of people use estrangement as a conflict resolution solution. So I'm going to bring in Nityama and, of course, Veronica, because they're on too as well. Nityama, talk to us about this process, man. How do we heal from this? What are the origins of this stuff, and how do we undo it?
First of all, everybody has forgotten that this is an energy world that you live in. Meaning, if I talk to my mother in my heart of hearts, straight to her heart of hearts, whether I ever say anything to her or whether I'm totally silent, I am communicating with her, and she knows it. The other thing is, sit down and write a letter to the person.
Yeah.
So that there is no confrontation in the moment of them being with whatever you're saying. They can sit there, reflect on it, be with it, own to themselves what parts of it are real without having to be embarrassed in front of you while they're doing it.
Wow.
They may go into total breakdown in private and then come to you and say, you know what, I never knew. I never knew. But part of what we're suffering from is that we have no business putting a woman along somewhere to rear children by herself. We were supposed to be a community. We've allowed these people to create these little cubicle boxes, and everybody's got to have one. So then what happens is that the child is isolated with whatever brand of insanity that the mother has been indoctrinated with. Damn! The child has no other adult to look to. When you're in community, the child can say, damn, my mama's crazy. and go over and hang out with some adult in the community that is more sane. For them to have an impact on the child. The child is in no way devoid of intelligence. The child knows insanity when it's looking at it. But we say, thou shalt not see. So if you're in the house with a mother that's off a rocker, she said, you didn't see what you saw. Now you got to start doubting your own sanity. This is where the downfall comes. So we've got a lot of things that need to be addressed. We need to quit allowing this society to box everybody up and isolate them from one another and therefore conquer everybody.
Wow. Corey Holcomb had a point to make. Corey?
No, I just wanted to say, like, I always thought of writing letters to people because I know a lot of times you get interrupted and you never finish your point. But what I want to say to you is, I believe a lot of guys think of this, so if you've been with a dude who ain't never wrote you a letter and y'all don't argue, that means you probably a bitch you don't really give a fuck about. That's all I just want you to know.
Exactly.
Wow. Veronica Conway is on the line, and I know you have to weigh in on this. I know you got something to say about it. Talk to me.
Well, I'll say this. I mean, Mama is a vessel. She's a vessel. Her womb is a vessel, whether that vessel is polluted or whole. I do intergenerational hypnotherapy. I do regression therapy with folks, and I take people back to some of their original wounds, whether it's race wounds or time wounds or money wounds. And what I often find, and these are from people that you would never think that they'd be open to hypnotherapy. You can get to root cause stuff that's happening. The thing is that when I regress people back into where they first felt fear, right, oftentimes they'll go back into a time when they were in their mama's belly. And so there they are in the belly, marinating in a climate of fear or in an environment of lack. Because whatever the mother is experiencing in her environment, she's going to transmit and broadcast that to the baby. So many things begin before the baby even gets here. And so we have to begin to create environments for our women that are sane so that they can pass on sanity instead of insanity.
Wow. Dr. G, I mean, in your clinical work, I mean, as a psych, as a shrink.
Well, let me weigh on something else. Something that I've learned.
You don't want my question?
No,
it's fine.
Because I've been thinking about everything else. At least to my
fuck you, Zal. There
you go. When it comes to communication, actions don't respond to words; they respond to counteractions. The key is to not do overkill or underkill. And so when words don't work, you got to figure out what the consequence is. I was also thinking, about what Cheyenne was saying. When you say you got to tell your mom what she done to you, I think you have to ask yourself, what's the outcome you want from it? And usually, what you want the outcome to be. Let me finish. Is that you'd like her to own up to it. So here's how I'd suggest you doing it. What you say to your mom is you can say, I want you to hear me out because I need you to say what I'm going to tell you to say to me so that I can let go of being angry at you and avoiding you. But I need you to say these things. And what I need you to say to me is that when I was growing up, I wasn't just imagining stuff, that these things happened. And I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to jump on you. If you say that, I can let go of resenting you and avoiding you. Because and if you don't do that, I'm just going to keep doing it more. And then the outcome is going to be we're going to have no relationship.
Bobby, then Geoff.
Quickly, we have to discuss roles and how they've changed so drastically that we can't avoid it any longer. women have to return to their first nature, which is being, nourishing, and men have to be there in a directorial position, not in a necessarily a dominant one, but there's, like Nityama said earlier, you cannot have a household without a man in it.
Let me ask this question. Can the women on the panel, Veronica, Cheyenne, and Margo, can you guys speak to me? Are women in general less nourishing today than they were years ago?
Nurturing.
Nourishing,
It means what it means.
Are you guys less of that now?
Well, I'll add something to that before you get deeper into it. I have to say that women are definitely naturally more compassionate. And even they are. No. I'm working. Follow me now. Hold on. Women are naturally more compassionate, and naturally, and even in a hurt state where we're wounded, we're still able to. Because we have no choice. We have to carry out these duties. So, back to what you were saying. I'm sorry. You said that basically, what was the main thing?
Nurturing, that's the word you used.
Nurturing.
I got a lot of
you
stuff in my
answered
head.
some other stuff. What were you doing? Like, you're not even following the flow of the conversation.
It's an important word for you to learn.
I have a lot of information.
Yeah.
Women aren't, women partially aren't as nurturing as they used to be. We do need support.
That's
so
what I'm
that
asking.
we can get back to a certain state.
Just asking, are you guys more or less nurturing?
Zoe, that's your fault. That is entirely your fault. Because you don't understand that you don't get the answer that you asked for the first thing come out of woman's mouth.
Yeah,
you got to get something else. There's 4 things down.
Like,
you got to sit through them first 3.
Cheyenne, yes or no?
I think women are less nurturing and less compassionate nowadays than need to be and than they used to be.
Wow.
I agree with
Veronica.
I say that we're less nurturing because we are the polarities have flipped, and we are now embodying a masculine paradigm of protector and provider.
That's suicide.
Which, when we're embodying that, there's no bandwidth left to be nurturer.
Wow.
Because we're never meant to wear his shoes.
That was heavy. Listen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump right back on top of it. This topic is crazy right now. We're going to learn something today. Yeah. I'll holler at you in a minute.
So, I mean, I disagree.
Okay.
Question everything. That's all I can say to you. And I got to talk to that little dude that's in the shower, in the cold shower, being fed hot sauce, coincidentally, by a white woman, so that sisters can step down from the #1 pedestal society has them in as shitty mothers. Shitty mothers are universal. You got to question everything. As a child, you got to get to a place. Somehow you got to find a light. Look for it. It's in a friend. It's in a TV show. It's in another relative. You got to find a light to guide you away from the neurosis of the shit that you are growing up under. Find that light, because we're not going to save everybody. This shit that we saying, yeah, it's academic. You know why? Because there's not one shitty mother that's going to watch this show and go, you know what? Yeah, bing, I'm a shitty mother. They're not. All the shitty people I know are also unaccountable. This is about helping the people who are outside of the shitty people. And if it's a child with shitty enough parents that they don't know that you're watching this show, because kids ain't supposed to be watching this show, I'm talking to you. Find a light, because your mama is fucking crazy.
We're back after the intellectual rant of Geoff Brown. Corey Holcomb had something to say, then Margo.
It's a blessing to make it to age 35. Anytime you're alive after age 35, I say it's your fault. If you, whenever I meet a woman and she's 35 or older, I always ask her, is it okay for me to have a conversation with the last 2 guys that you dealt with? Because it's going to help me. It's going to help me make sure everything I think you are.
And what did she say?
Just
No.
that. Well, a lot of times they get mad, but I've had a couple of girls bold enough to let me talk to the guys, and it just confirms everything I thought she was, because I know who you are after I talked to you a couple of times.
Right.
And when you talk to the guys who she used to be with, if you're intelligent, you'll be like, yeah, this is a bitch. This bitch ain't shit. That's why she ain't got nobody.
Wow.
I'm
That's
just
heavy.
saying.
That's heavy.
Most of the time, it be crazy bitch.
Is it impossible to heal, Mom?
I don't think it's impossible for mom to heal, but mom needs to know that something's wrong. And I think that those children also play a part in a mother's healing. And I know that me, myself, I've been in a position where there was some healing that needed to be done. And I was like, I refused. I'm not living with monkeys on my back or with resentment. I would rather be free in my mind and be happy and sleep well and be able to look in the mirror. So I have went to my mother before, and I said, you know, and I've talked with her. I didn't have to write her a letter. And I actually talked to my dad, too, and I wrote him a letter. And actually, you know, some things blew up as far as my dad goes, but I was honest. I was real, and I said, this is what it is. And actually, things got better between me and my mother and me and my father. And things were always good, but there were a few things that definitely were interrupting my growth that I feel that were hampering me. And I think that a child has to have the courage to be able to go to their parent. And some parents are crazy as hell. You can't go to every parent and talk to them possibly. And in that case, I think that a child should find somebody they can talk to. And usually God, the universe, always sends people your way anyway. Just keep your eyes open. So,
Geoff?
I only disagree with a little bit of that. And that's the need. Some people can outgrow, if they pay attention and do the personal growth enough, to not need that knowing where it's going.
Right.
Okay, if you got a parent that you see trying to make changes to be different than they were than the person that raised you,
right,
that's one thing. But if your mama still the same crazy heifer she was, and you knew that you was gonna get your ass cussed out in the same way you saw all them dudes she dated, what is the point? I just don't get it.
Geoff, what you have to do is, if you have a parent like that, you mail them a real long spoon, and you tell them this is the symbol of our relationship. Mail them a long ass spoon. This is our relationship. It's right here. Okay.
I like that. You got some product placement right there. You got a product, bro. You need to.
But I gotta say, Corey, I love that. Can I say one thing?
Quickly.
If you are not able, if anybody out there expects to have a healthy relationship, if you are not able to go to your parent and have a conversation, I don't care how crazy they are. If you can't at least get your feelings out and be able to have the courage to stand up for yourself, then what are you going to do in the world? Like, what's going to happen to you? No, there's no transformation. No, it is the courage a lot of times. A lot of people are afraid to face their parents.
I ain't talking about that.
That's true.
I'm just talking about people in general. A
Your
lot of
mother
people still feel
taller
like
than
a
you?
child. And even at 50
I
years
know
old,
you
they
ain't
still feel
afraid
like
to
a
face
child.
no
Their
woman.
mother's parents. Yes, I'm 6'2", yeah. And my mother is tall. She's 5'11". So
I
yeah.
think
Cheyenne?
I think it boils down to what Doc over here said. Pretty much, what's the outcome that you want for your life, and what is going to assist you the most in your impairments? Is it worth it? Which is what you said, right? Is it worth it? I mean, are you having this conversation just because you heard a radio show that said you need to have a conversation with your mom and dad, write a letter?
Right.
Or did you really do a self-reflection and say, you know what, because of these issues and because of these traumas I've experienced, it's necessary for me to have this conversation. What is that conversation going to do for me?
That's right.
And does it make sense? And if it does move forward, if it doesn't continue in your life, and try to heal within yourself, because there's many other ways to heal besides having a conversation.
Bobby and Doc.
Several years ago, I dated a woman who had a daughter who was grown, and she was the worst mother in the world, and it put me in a real awkward position because I watched her, talk and do things to her daughter that was just criminal to me. Long story short, the little girl was about 7 years old, and I pulled her over and I said, look here, you're going to make it on your own because your mother is sick and crazy, and she don't really love you. She would just run up to her all the time She didn't love her.
I don't agree
She
with
didn't
that.
love her. Okay,
Wow.
I'm gonna tell you why I had to tell this little girl that.
No, not the conversation.
No, I had to
Hold
tell
on,
this little
but
girl.
Jeff, hold on, because we got
she-
an order
girl
here.
when she get grown.
that she was on her own right now. I hated to do that,
But
but
that's
that
the
little
truth.
girl, man, this girl wouldn't even feed the little girl.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Wow.
She let her lay up in her own piss.
Wow.
So what am I supposed to do? I said, look, you're on your own. I hate to tell you this, but you got to find other people other than your mother to help you make it in this world.
Absolutely.
Dr. G?
Jeff, write this down. Having horror heard helps heal hurt.
Yeah.
Having horror heard helps heal hurt. And
Yeah.
what that means is find someone, you know, because I'm a trauma specialist, so I've seen people have been raped and molested, all kinds of awful things. And what happened is when they finally got out the horror, and the reason people are afraid to get out the horror is because they're afraid they'll just keep getting flashbacks. And I remember people saying, "Am I wrong or am I weak?" And I remember that they just got the horror, and I said, "No, you're just devastated." And then what happened is they collapsed. They just started crying and they collapsed. But then I waited it out. I didn't rush them with a solution, and then after 5 or 6 minutes, they go like this, and they would be 10 pounds lighter. So, you know, and find someone who can hear the horror without giving you a solution, without fixing it, to make themselves feel more in control. But having the horror heard helps heal hurt.
Wow. What's up?
I totally agree with that. What I'm saying is this showdown, this conversation, this engagement with the individual.
You say we don't necessarily need it.
I don't think you necessarily
You made
need
that point.
that. And
So
I
you
don't-
give up on your people?
Huh?
You give up on your people? Is that
You know
the
what?
solution?
Certain people got to be wrote off. You can't save them all. You can't save them all.
Let me just say this. I'm with Nityama. Nityama says it's an energy thing. And I believe energy can never be destroyed. It can only change form. And with that said, I want to throw it back to Nityama and ask, how do these children transmute that energy of trauma in their next relationships? Like, how do those new relationships teach them or give them signs to say, okay, this is what you got from her, and this is how you undo that? Nityama?
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things that I'd like to say right there. One is that I want to tell a little quick story. Me and my mother, we've always had a pretty good relationship, even though we went different ways in certain places. But when I became aware of energy, I went back to my mother. And what I did with my mother is I asked her to step aside. We went out of the main house, out of somewhere where we were alone. And I asked her, I told her, I want to give you a hug. I said, and whatever you experience in this hug is your experience. If it feels sexual, whatever it is, you own it. So I gave her a hug energetically. She went into multiple orgasms and started crying and crying and crying and crying. And I just kept holding her, just let her go through it. And then when she stepped back from me, the first things out of her mouth were, "You're the only man I've ever known in my life."
Wow.
That's deep.
And nothing was said. It was all energetic. This is how powerful the energy world is.
That's what I'm saying. Nityama, can you connect the dots for us, for women who, because they say statistically, 80% of women don't have orgasms. Can you connect unhealed hearts and wounds with the orgasms and the energy and all of that? Can you connect that?
For a woman to be disconnected from her orgasmicness is for a woman to be disconnected from God. That orgasmic energy moving through a woman is her connection with her direct life force. She has got to be in denial of that, which is to deny the existence of God, to deny the existence of life. Even though she is the embodiment of it, she brings it forth. So it's got to create tremendous conflict in her. So the moment that she comes back to that, if I do a session with a woman, I don't need to tell her anything. When she starts to feel that orgasmic energy moving through her, she immediately knows how off herself she has been, how out of alignment she has been.
Okay, Nityama, I gotta ask you. If orgasms are the epitome or the apex of satisfaction, would the lack of orgasms be the epitome of dissatisfaction, and are a lot of women parenting from a space of dissatisfaction?
Totally. And when I speak of orgasm, I'm not talking about some little thing that happens in the clit where a woman has a little moment of, it's kind of like a man ejaculating, you know, ain't nothing to that. But I'm talking about an orgasm where the woman is totally alive from head to toe. Everything in her is impacted by the experience. So she feels herself as the goddess that she actually is, but it's firsthand.
Wow. So Nityama, would I be correct if I get into an argument with a woman who I feel is bitter, and I say, you non-orgasm having bitch? Is that correct? Is that correct right there? That's not nice. What?
It's a fact.
Nityama's like, I don't know if you should say that.
The approach might not be ideal, but I'm on point, right?
I know I get a little irritable when I haven't had an orgasm. My man will be like, yeah, come on.
Okay, listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back,
Let me bring some peace back up in there.
Pull that Toro out the closet.
We'll be back at 2.3.
My brother and I no longer have contact. We did have contact non-stop. For all of those years, I had no contact with my mother. My brother and I were tight as could be. Except when I reintroduced my mother, somehow there was separation. He started distancing himself. He started treating me cruelly. There's many different level of reasons for this. But my narcissistic mother was really doing something that we call triangulation, or separating, or slicing. Taking the siblings, both my brother and I, as well as our step siblings, my two step brothers and my step sister, and dissecting each one of us against each other. Talking bad about one to the other, then going to the other one and talking bad about that person, and this way, and I'll talk about triangulation in another video. But this way the narcissist controls all the information. They control the flow of communication. Everything goes back to the narcissist. They're in control. And they love to see the battle and the misery between the siblings. They thrive off it.
In my case, my mother told me the most horrifying stories about how my father abused her, kicked her in the belly when she was pregnant with me, once he knew she could not abort, how he beat and abused my older brother, while always doting on me. I am sorry if this makes you feel bad now, and remember, she was not sorry when she was saying it to a 7-year-old, me, when I was still missing my father terribly. She instilled in me that I should be eternally grateful to my brother for not abusing me in turn, especially when she finally left my father 7 years later. Now, what was I supposed to do with all of this when I was that young? She was hoping that I would start hating my father and cut him off, which I did, only now realizing she just did it to spite and punish my father, and the way I felt. I still find that traumatic to think about those things even now. That didn't matter at all. She has achieved her goal, and that what was truly important. Now, if she really appreciated the impact that it has on me, she would also try and brainwash me into believing that was the best thing to do somehow, and she was right to bring it all up to me.
A child who grew up with a narcissistic parent who alienated me from my father and his family. Any form of contact they made, my mother would turn it into, look, they're stalking us, how creepy are they? They want to take you away from me, and so on and so on. It was a very tumultuous way to grow up. I want to reach out to others who are experiencing parental alienation. I've seen videos of parents, mostly dads, sharing their stories, telling what they're going through, and I'm like, wow, that is so my mother. In a way, I find it refreshing to know that I'm not alone. My mother wasn't the only lone crazy woman, and there are others. And then on the other side, I'm just devastated for the people who are going through it.
Man, parental alienation, gaslighting, I mean, the emotional manipulation that's in play that a mother has. My question is, and I'm going to throw it to the doc really quickly. My question is, do mothers, and not just mothers, good mothers, bad mothers, but specifically this topic is about bad mothers, do the bad mothers use female privilege to really just enforce a lot of these negative traits that make them bad mothers? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm mom and because I'm a woman, you know, I'm not accountable for all of the stuff that I put in this kid, that I poured into this kid. And I wanted to ask the question to all of the women here, and we'll get to it. Do women, do that nurturer on the inside gets turned off when the relationship with the dad isn't right?
When you go into survival mode.
I'm talking to the doc.
You know, you bring up something, and we should do a whole show on this. We should do a whole show on this. What you're bringing up is when people feel entitled and self-righteous, they're incapable of giving anything to another person. So mothers may feel entitled, but a lot of men can feel entitled, and you can't feel entitled and care about anyone else. But the thing I wanted to bring up, any of you who, and I want what Nityama says, any of you who subconsciously know and feel that you will only be free when that mother dies and you wish her dead, that doesn't make you a bad person, and you may think you're guilty because you know that's the only thing that will free you. What you're upset about is her behavior. You may love motherhood, but your mother is totally composed of abusive behavior. So if you have that conflict and thinking, I'm a bad person, I must be a bad person, I mean, I just wish my mother were dead, what you're really saying is, I want relief from this, and the only way I'm ever going to get it, because it's never going to change, is for her to be out of my life or out of her life. So take the guilt off you. You're not a bad person for wishing that. Now, if you try and make it happen, you could get into trouble. Or you'll get your own TV show. But it's the behavior that you can't stand, and so don't do a guilt trip on yourself wanting relief from that.
Wow. Listen, we have another special guest who was abused, I'm told.
Is it a girl or a guy?
It's a girl.
Hey.
Her name is Crystal. We want to make some space for Crystal because she fits perfectly. You know, she's had an experience with this, and I want to bring her in and hear some of her story. Crystal, welcome to the So What Morning Show. Crystal? Frank? Crystal.
Yes, what an intro. Yes.
Thank you. Have you been
Hi.
listening? Crystal?
Yes.
Have you been listening to the show?
I've been listening since the very beginning, yes.
Can you speak to your experience with your mother? And what was some of the ways she manipulated you or hurt you or abused you or took advantage of you? Talk to me about it.
Well, I can tell you, my abuse started with a stepfather when I was 5 years old, sexual abuse. And it was one of those stories where, I can almost have learned to accept, he had his issues, right? But the fact that my mother knew was one of those really, really challenging things. That's always been the hardest thing to get over. How could she not have protected me? It took me 20 years to pursue charges. I pressed charges as soon as I turned 18. And 20 years later, he was convicted. And it wasn't until that court process that my mother really sort of came forward with that. So I just want to say that listening to Nityama talk about community, that's what helped me heal, right? Finding other mothers to mentor me all along the way. And like Jeff said, finding the light. You have to finding the light in my mother and sort of just realizing, wow, what happened in your life, right? Or how were you abused? But never really wholly trusting her to guide me and support me in certain things, and just learning to accept that. And I think someone mentioned, writing a letter.
Nityama.
I wrote a letter at 15 that I was able to read in court that really called everybody out, from my mother, school counselors. The whole system sort of failed me. in my life. But the thing that I want is anybody that's listening that has that experience is you have to mother yourself, and you have to find a mother mentor. They're there. They'll come to you, I promise. Like Nityama said, the energy, they'll find you.
Wow, a mother mentor. Corey?
I just wanted to know, have you ever had a sexual experience with a woman?
No.
Oh, I was just wondering, Crystal. Thank you.
Well, that's Corey Holcomb, our resident intellectual irritant. Again, my question to you now is, are there any inroads for forgiveness with your mother? Like, are you still in contact with your mother? Do you speak to your mother? I mean, like, have you and your mother got past it? And how did you guys get past that? Like, that's what I want to know.
Why wasn't she friends with her stepdad?
Well, I think you just have to, see things, face the truth. This is something that happened. She didn't do it in the way. And, just sort of processing that I can't go back and change that. And I just sort of deal with her as a incomplete, sort of immature person. And that's just really, I didn't take the road of, not speaking to her. She's still in my life. But I just sort of deal with her in the context that I don't take it too. I don't know. I'm sort of struggling with the answer, but she's around, but it's still a bit of a challenge.
Geoff?
Crystal, question: are you saying then that your mother has never quite owned her part in it, or did she? And that's I guess my question to you.
Well, she didn't own her part until she was forced to own her part. When actually, we went to court. Like I said, I started pressing charges at 18. It was a 20-year journey to actually get in front of a judge. And only in that last little home stretch was, the remorse sincere, when she had to tell police officers and really share the information that she knew. Did she really confront what happened? She was living in denial, and I think that's part of the healing for me and for her. She's facing the truth.
Crystal, this is the doc. I think you mentioned a word that's real important. Talk about the difference between remorse and regret for helping you with your feelings, because I think there's a world of difference, and I think you've probably experienced that if you can talk about that.
Well, I don't know. I try to deal with it. Corey asked that question. Have you ever had sex with a woman, and sort of the idea of a woman that's abused, the whole. What is she like, or what is I don't know where that question came from, but this happened to me, but this is not my identity. So I really try to live my life without either one of those words. I certainly don't wish that it happened, but I have used it in a community position where I'm an advocate and an ally. I had a very public case, and so people say, "Oh, you're so brave. You tell the story." This wasn't necessarily my choice. It's just the right thing to do. And so, if I can be that light for somebody to live in truth, right? And not play the victim card your whole life, then I'll take that stand.
Crystal, the point I was making between regret and remorse, because they're huge. When someone says, "I regret it happened," I'm sorry, can we move on? It feels almost like it makes it worse. Whereas remorse is when they actually feel what you felt when it was done to you, then you can let it go. So that, because you used the word remorse, and I want to just throw that out in the open, because an apology that has just regret and no remorse, save the apology.
Wow, that's a good point. Listen, we got to take a quick break. Crystal, hold on. We just got to take a quick break. We're going to come right back to this. This is a lot of information being shared here. And Margo has a question for you when she comes back. Okay, so when we come back, we'll talk. Right, here we come. Here we come. Man, we are back. And like I said, I can't wait for the during the breaks video. That's going to be, the outtakes are going to be pretty crazy. Listen, we're back. Today's topic, man, we're talking about a tough topic. I mean, it's a hard topic to have, like even with myself, you know, my mother, you know,
Is she still with us?
No, she's gone. She passed in '09, but it was very. I had to come to a space where I just had to accept her.
Right.
And I understood the difference. Like I couldn't, you know, when I was younger, I was tolerating my expectations of her. Like I expect you to be this, you know, and she wasn't. You know, she was, for the most part, she was gone. You know, after I was born, 3 months after I was born, she had a nervous breakdown. And then all of us got sent to foster care, right? So, I mean, this is in my new book. All of us got sent to foster care, and the difficult part of that is my oldest brothers got sent to jail because they were too old for foster care.
Jail?
They got sent to jail in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They got sent to prison. They were too old. Nobody was going to take some African American men from the projects, Alton Park projects. They got sent to jail. So with
it's Tennessee,
God
man.
damn it! I'm trying to tell a story. Just listen. This is very personal to me. Just listen.
Okay.
Like Doc said, let them get it out.
Hear my horror, goddammit. So she had a nervous breakdown. She gets, you know, the 90-day evaluation. But I'm a child. I'm a baby. I'm months old. She doesn't get us back until I'm 6. Now she got everybody else back, but the 2 youngest, she don't get us back until I'm 6. So there was a disconnect there. And as we got older and we moved to Southern California, she didn't tell me about how, you know, she made it seem like my dad, and he was a problem. He was a motherfucking problem. But she didn't tell the whole story until I was 30.
Did you ask before then?
She didn't tell the whole story until I was 30. She has an obligation to tell her kids the story. Let's stop making fucking excuses for them, goddammit. I didn't have to ask her. I didn't have to ask her.
Some women don't want you to know they bust down like that until it don't matter.
I'm just saying, for that, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
She had an obligation to tell the story. She never told the story. She had multiple opportunities to tell the story. She told versions of the story over and over and over again, but she didn't tell the story in context.
Whether I say I'm hungry or not don't mean you ain't supposed to feed me.
So I'm just saying it's an important conversation to have. It's not easy to have, but we got to have it. And the only way that I was able to heal with my mom and laugh with my mom again and connect with my mother again, I just had to accept her for who and what she was. I had to put my expectations of who I thought she was or who I thought I needed her to be, I had to put that aside.
Who was she, though? Who did you accept her for?
As she was.
Oh, okay.
A woman who made a lot of bad choices in her life. A woman who, you know, I mean, after her nervous breakdown, she was on psychotropics for the rest of her life. You know, when I was born, she was 27. I was child number 6.
I think guys should ask themselves if my mama was in the club and my homies with paper was in the club, could they fuck my mama? People should ask themselves that.
I don't know if we should ask that question, Bobby.
You know, I just want to interject this. The good news from all of what we done talked about today is, if you live long enough, you can get to a stage where you can say, you know, I can't change my parents, I can't change
Right.
But this is my life. This is my life, and I don't want to act out those behaviors that had me feeling all this time like I had something to do with this shit that I didn't. But at some point, you become responsible for your outcome. And I think all of us at this table at some point or another have had to make that decision, that I'm not going to be the person that has me feeling this way, whether it's my mother or my father, I have to decide that I'm not going to raise my children like it. I'm not going to have relationships like that. But it ain't easy. It's not. I'm saying it's easy.
Yes. I hear Brother Nityama chiming in, and then Dr. G. Nityama.
One of the things that I want to say is that we've got things a little twist on the planet. Number one, at whatever point that you can take responsibility for yourself, free your parents up to the larger context. In other words, at 40 years old, 30 years old, 20 years old, I don't need a mother.
Thank you.
I don't need a father. I need to become completely committed to my Creator as soon as I realize that that is what is important here. I'm in no way here to live out my mother's dreams, my father's dreams, or nobody else's dreams.
Wow.
I'm here to live according to what my Creator brought me to the planet for. And some children come into the planet knowing and understanding what that is at 6 months old, and the parents end up having to follow the child. So we're trying to stay children to our parents way too long.
Yes.
When we need to be parents to them at some point.
Exactly. Especially if they came here and they were never parented. Then you actually came here to liberate them.
Wow.
You cannot spend your whole life depending on somebody else to give you something that they never had. If you can see that they never had it, then the responsibility is then on you to show up and be accountable.
Dr.
I don't care what your age is. You are a God, and the moment that a God can see, a God can do.
Wow. Go ahead, Dr. G. Follow that.
You don't want to follow that one, Dr. G. You want to shut the fuck up.
Go ahead, Dr. G. Wow.
Years ago, a guy, you know.
Here's a question.
Here's a question. I'll speak like Corey imitating me.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. G.
Geez, I'd like to speak like Corey and make light of everything. Hey, I don't take anything. Anyone who takes anything serious in life is a chump. You're a loser. I mean, don't take anything seriously.
That's what I'm portraying you.
Dust us, ash to ashes, assholes to assholes. Just don't take it so serious. Anyway, there was this guy I was seeing, and he said, you know, my dad, it wasn't abusive the way we're hearing about. He said, I had a chip on my shoulder until 25, and my dad said to me, he said, look, he said, I agree that you had a messed up past, and I contributed to it, but if you're going to use that as an excuse for a messed up future, that's your choice.
Yeah.
You know, and and that's up to you to make or not make. And again, I don't think we're dealing with molestation. I think we're just dealing with shaming and verbal criticizing. You're a loser and that sort of thing. But it really woke this person up. So, but I don't think I just want to share that because it may apply to some people, and we may be dealing with much more severe abuse then.
Wow. This is heavy.
I take a lot of things seriously. Like, for example, whenever I'm with a woman, I do not like to meet her children, especially if my intent is not good.
Right.
I will at all costs avoid any contact with her kids because they do not need to meet me because I know where my heart is a lot of times. So I don't know if that makes me good or bad, but I don't like to see the children get destroyed.
Wow.
You're doing your wrong right.
Right.
That's right. I agree.
Wow. Cheyenne, you want to chime in?
As far as with Crystal or with Corey just
chime in to what I said.
What Corey said. I mean, I commend you on that. I think that that's something you should do. I've been in that same situation where I made sure that I kept myself distant from the kids because I know that I had not yet made the decision to be exclusive or committed to this man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's smart.
You got kids?
I have no kids.
We need to work on that.
Oh God! But let me ask Nityama and Crystal this. Let me ask Nityama and Crystal. and Margo this. How does one begin to break the bond of mom and start out on your own now? I'm going to think the way I want to think. How does one challenge all of the philosophies and ideas and emotions and shaming and all of the shit mom done did? How does one embark on that journey? Everybody can answer.
One of the best ways to cut your losses from people you should cut your losses from is you hang out with better and better people, and then the people who you should cut your losses with repulse you and you can't be around them. So the more you hang out with good people, the less you're able to even be around bad people. So let water, reach its own level and find better people to be around.
Everybody's going to answer this. Just do it quickly.
Okay.
Margo?
I think that the thing that needs to happen, the change needs to happen on the inside. First, the awareness needs to be there that something is wrong. Once you figure out something is wrong, you have to figure out what your responses in situations. Is this me or is this something from my upbringing? The awareness is what brings the thing.
Blood's thicker than water, though. Go ahead.
Have the balls to look at the choices you make directly compared to the choices that your mother made in given similar situations. That's hard to do.
I think you have to provide yourself with what you want others to provide you with. If that's compassion, unconditional love, I think that figure out how to love yourself first. Marry yourself, make commitments to yourself so that you can attract that energy of people who can provide that for you as well. And then you can provide that for others. And it makes for a healthy relationship.
Wow. Bobby? Corey, because I'm going to save you.
You can rent a mother figure and always be around her, a mother figure that's doing a lot better than your mother, and let your mother see you around her a lot. That's how you do it.
Oh, the jealousy is going. God.
That only
Bobby?
works for men.
Simply accept responsibility.
No, I'm just
Bobby?
I'm just being.
Go ahead.
Accept responsibility for your own self-determination.
Wow, that's big. Nityama, give me one.
You need to kill everybody's voices in your head. Ain't nobody got no business living in you. I don't care who they are.
Damn.
The moment that you turn your attention to your creative force inside of you and you start to listen to that and allow that to lead and guide you, then there's no need for you to be trying to figure out what to do with all these other people because they're no longer living inside of you, cluttering your thought processes or your connection with yourself spiritually.
Wow. Listen, I got to take a quick break, but when I come back, I'm going to get Crystal's thought on it too. We about to take off. When we come back, holla, finishing it up. We are a society. Man, oh Manischewitz. Very, very, very powerful show today. My final thought is this. I said it a little bit earlier, too. I said, I always talk about challenging ideas and beliefs and all of that. And I said earlier, one of the most bastardized words on planet Earth is mom. It's bastardized because we look at it stereotypically, just like we look at God stereotypically or love stereotypically. We look at this. We got to remember stereotypes are like fiat currencies. They can be inflated and they can be devalued. Now, we have seen fathers and the stereotype of dad being devalued, just like the dollar is worth 5 cents, right? But it represents $1. Right? So I didn't do this show to say, let's devalue the stereotype of mom. I said, well, let's question mom's approachability in terms of the power she has and the harm she can cause to children. Right? I'm mad at your dad. So the nurturer, life giver in me doesn't give a damn about saying you ain't shit just like him. Right? And I wanted to question that. Right? Because I've seen in a myriad of my friendships, children who stay connected with their mother even after mom has done some horrible and atrocious things, but able to leave dad alone and walk away from dad. You understand what I'm saying? Based off of a program and a concept that was implanted in the child by the mother. So I was like, we gotta deal with this show. We got to deal with this topic. I love what Corey says. He says people are afraid to have particular conversations, and he's right. Listen, if we're going to evolve as people, Nityama says something very powerful about the children being the conduit for the parents' growth once they disconnect from the toxin of the parent. And I've always said, you're not an adult until you have your own thoughts. And the only way to have your own thoughts is to challenge and question the thoughts that you were raised with. Right? So, and that means challenging mom. That means challenging her rule, her authority, getting her out of your relationships, right? Healing from whatever marginalization she put on you because she was afraid that you might, succeed or reach a level higher than her. Yeah, there's some mothers who will love you through sabotage. I don't ever want to see you do better than me. Right? There's some mothers who do that. Right? Right? So I wanted to talk to the children, the adult children of those people. Listen, it starts by understanding that just because your mother had you, it doesn't mean you are a possession of hers. It doesn't mean she owns you. You have your own spiritual journey, your own purpose for being here. And like Nityama said, she's just a vehicle. She was just, Mother Metro to get you here. Mother MTA. You jumped off of her once you was born. So I just want us to continue this kind of dialogue, to continue pushing the envelope of questioning everything, including mama. Question mama too. To me, questioning mom is synonymous with questioning God and Jesus. Nobody wants to question Jesus because of fear of hell. Nobody wants to question mom because of fear of not being loved by her, even if she hurt you. There's a fear of, damn, my mama don't love me? Fuck. Nobody gonna love me if mama don't love me, so there's a fear for that. Oh yeah. I can live without dad because I was socialized. We socialized to, it's okay to live without dad, but it ain't okay to live without mama. I'm saying challenge all of that. Don't be afraid to challenge all of that and walk fearlessly into your purpose in life. And trust me, your purpose has absolutely nothing to do with your mama. Never have, right? It has nothing to do with your mama or your father for that matter. It has nothing to do with it. So I'm saying that was the purpose of this show, and I appreciate all of the contributors. Let me do this really quickly. Nityama, you have a DVD. People got to buy your DVD. I watched it on the way up here. It's a cold piece of work. Where can they get your DVD, brother?
Ask Veronica to tell you.
Veronica has sent us a link, and what we'll do is push that link out. But I'm urging everybody to get the Brother Nityama's link. We got the link up here right now. The Yin and Yang Center, How to Liberate the Receptive Wild Woman, a breakthrough in sexual spiritual knowledge. I watched this thing. When I tell y'all, Nityama is on another level. He's from another planet. He's got a whole nother cycle of information that is very, very valuable to everyone involved. Please check this brother out. And I'm telling you,
I'm gonna buy it.
Listen,
anything
I know.
He got, I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I know women all across this country. This is how the universe works. The universe is cold. I never met Nityama in my life, but I met about 8 or 9 women that worked with him. Veronica is one. My photographer, Inez Lewis, is another. Oh, you know Nityama? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that look in their eye?
Yeah.
Nityama, you laying it down on the motherfucker.
I'm telling you. Look at that.
He's proud of his work right there.
All right, you got you. I know that look.
Let me show you why they call me Nityama.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna tell you the website. The website for his DVD is www.tinyurl.com/Nityama DVD. Nityama is Nityama. Nityama. So tinyurl.com/Nityama DVD. Nityama DVD. Believe me when I tell you, it's a whole different kind of experience in spiritual. I'm telling you, it's a whole nother level. It's real stuff. Bobby G, where do they find you? Where do they get your goods, man?
Just go to my website, www.realmendon'tplay.com. If you get a chance, this show ties perfectly into the play. Don't Nobody Walk Like My Daddy. Check it out this weekend here in Los Angeles.
Corey, where are you?
I'm going to be in Detroit for Valentine's Day, the Help You Break Up show. That's what we calling it. Down here, end the misery, and you and that bitch, y'all come in separate cars to the show. Goddammit, I'm telling you now.
Goulston, Dr. G.
Goulston,
The
Goulston.
Get your ass in here. Go to Amazon. You can get the collectible.
You want to speak in the mic?
Yeah,
you forgot it to be
go to Amazon. You can get the collectible hardcover for about another month, and then it becomes a paperback. And you can get the hardcover for less than the paperback until they sell them out. But just go to Amazon and help support that. It's the top book on listening in the world. So I'm going to Russian China, teach them how to listen.
Wow, good stuff. Dr. Bryant.
You can get my book, Mental Detox, at mentaldetoxbook.com or on Amazon. So mentaldetoxbook.com or amazon.com.
Awesome. Geoff Brown.
Go to miptags.com to see all my stuff, where I'm going to be, what I'm doing. This Saturday, I will be in Palm Springs at Tilt the Kilt.
Tilt the Kilt.
Come see the show.
Yeah.
All right.
Margo.
Everybody, DestinationLoveLife.com is coming later this year, so keep your eyes open for it. Until then, you can check out my YouTube channel. No new videos right now, but you can leave a comment. It's Destination Love Life. So
awesome. Hey, Crystal, what are you selling? Where can people get it? Let's go.
CrystalGood.net.
What is it?
Crystal, my name, Crystal. Good, GOOD.net.
And what is CrystalGood.net? What's on there? Are there books? Are there videos? What do you have?
I'm a poet. I'm a writer poet, and so I have essays on there, and I have a poetry book. Yeah, it doesn't always connect with this subject, but it's there. And I just want to say, that your last show really, really inspired and encouraged me to just, call in and share this, because this is something that we don't talk about, and I believe that dialogue heals. So I just want to thank you, Zoe, for doing the show.
Beautiful. I got love for you. Thank you for sharing. Go to IamZoeWilliams.com. Go to ZoeWhatOrders.com and email me if you want a coaching strategy session with me for free. Get at me. I'll get at you. Let's get it done. CDBaby.com really quickly. Go get my lecture on God. It's off the charts. You see I'm rocking the Ramo Mart today. As a matter of fact, Ramo Mart is here in the building right now. I kid you not. He's here, but he ain't going to come on air. But he's here. Oh, it's off the charts. We'll see y'all next week with another heater. So what mornings? We